U.S. is the largest consumer, producer, and exporter of corn in the world.
Well, if you're wondering why farmers are so concerned about their farm finances right now, they really just can't catch a break. It's not just because corn prices are below break even for most. It's the fact input prices are so high.
I never thought I was going to lose this much money this fast.
What happens when your most trusted export becomes a global liability? In early 2025, a massive U.S. corn shipment, valued at over $65 million, was outright rejected by customs officials in China. The reason? Lab tests found pesticide residue levels far exceeding international thresholds. That one rejection triggered a domino effect across multiple continents. Suddenly, buyers from South America to Southeast Asia began retesting U.S. corn imports and quietly turning them away. Buyers don't want scandals. They want safety. And this put U.S. agriculture on a global blacklist almost overnight. The takeaway? Compliance isn't optional anymore. It's the new currency of trade. While U.S. corn faced scrutiny, Canada's corn was quietly taking its place on the world stage. Historically, a minor exporter, Canadian producers suddenly received record-breaking orders from Japan, Brazil, and even former U.S. trade allies. The reason? Their crops contain higher protein, lower glyphosate, and cleaner soil residue profiles. Buyers were willing to pay 15 to 20% more. Because what they lost in bulk, they gained in safety and market optics. Perception became product. And Canada's was squeaky clean. The big shift? Trust now sells faster than price. The lax pesticide standards that led to this mess? They were deregulated under Trump's own 2019 executive order aimed at cutting red tape for farmers. Now, his campaign is scrambling to shift blame. He wants voters to forget who weakened the export inspection framework in the first place. It's a political hot potato. And Trump's holding both ends. The lesson? Rhetoric ages fast. Regulations linger longer than slogans. At the heart of the corn conflict lies a three-letter battleground: GMO. Over 90% of U.S. corn is genetically modified, a fact once seen as innovative, now branded as risky. Countries like Germany, Kenya, and Thailand have tightened restrictions or banned GMO corn outright. Canada, meanwhile, has ramped up its non-GMO supply to meet this rising demand. Global buyers are shifting, not politically, but nutritionally. GMO used to mean efficient. Now it means uncertain. One trait changed everything, and that trait was trust. The shift is clear. In food trade, purity now outweighs productivity. Mexico, once a loyal importer of U.S. corn under NAFTA, dropped a political bombshell this year. It's phasing out genetically modified corn, including animal feed. The announcement blindsided U.S. exporters and infuriated Trump, who labeled it a trade betrayal. But Mexico's leaders stood firm, citing public health and biodiversity concerns. They've since inked exploratory deals with Canadian and South American producers. It's no longer just about trade. It's about national food identity. When neighbors change their diet, the kitchen politics get tense. The signal is clear. Health perception now rewrites global trade agreements. The difference isn't just in the corn, it's in the dirt it grows from. Canadian farmers have widely adopted no-till and regenerative practices, enriching soil microbiomes and boosting nutrient density. Meanwhile, many U.S. farms still rely on monocropping and synthetic inputs that degrade land over time. The outcome? Corn from Canada tends to have better mineral retention and fewer toxic residues. It's the kind of detail that sways billion-dollar contracts. Better soil, better future, and buyers are doing the math. The lesson? Agriculture now begins beneath the surface, literally. Japan doesn't take risks with food imports, and this year, it made a bold move. In March, Tokyo finalized a $1.2 billion multi-year contract with Canadian corn exporters, replacing what had traditionally been a U.S. stronghold. The reason? Japanese inspectors cited consistency, safety, and nutritional integrity as top priorities. Canadian corn hit the mark. U.S. producers never even got to the negotiating table. When reliability matters, emotion takes a back seat. The insight? Reputation opens doors that volume alone can't unlock. America's agricultural brand has long been built on scale. "We feed the world" became more than a slogan. It was policy. But that model is breaking down as buyers prioritize transparency, certification, and health standards over sheer volume. Canadian farms embraced this shift. U.S. farms clung to old metrics. And in a world of informed consumers, that's a losing game. Big doesn't mean better. It means harder to change. What wins today? Clarity, not capacity. For Midwest corn farmers, this isn't just a market shift. It's a livelihood crisis. Thousands followed all federal guidelines, invested in certified seeds, and sprayed according to schedule. Yet now, their silos are full and buyers are walking away. Many are pivoting to soybeans or even exploring joint ventures with Canadian co-ops. The mood? Resentful. Because it feels like they played by the rules, only to watch the rulebook get rewritten. Hardworking doesn't mean heard. The takeaway? Policy changes hit the growers last and hurt them the most. If this deep dive has opened your eyes to the real dynamics behind global agriculture, hit that subscribe button. We cut through the noise to bring you stories the headlines ignore, but that shape the future of your economy. And if you're already subscribed, you're part of the few who actually see how these silent shifts reshape the world. Stick around. The second half reveals how China, tech, and Trump's new play are flipping the corn game on its head. While the US focused on saving legacy markets, Canada was quietly building new ones. Over the past year, at least 5 African nations, led by Ghana and Kenya, have shifted toward importing Canadian fortified corn for school lunch programs and emergency food reserves. Why the switch? Fewer spoilage reports, lower allergic reaction rates. Aid agencies are recommending Canadian corn for vulnerable populations. The US didn't lose these markets. They never saw them coming. The insight? Sometimes the best trade victories are silent. Here's what most headlines miss. It's not just about what you grow, it's how you grow it. Canadian farms are using precision fertilizer techniques and soil testing that have cut nitrate runoff by up to 70%. In contrast, outdated US practices have led to rising water toxicity in corn belts like Iowa. Clean inputs lead to clean outputs, and importers are reading the fine print. What was once technical is now political. The takeaway? Clean farming is now a competitive advantage, not just an environmental one. China isn't just watching this corn chaos, they're weaponizing it. In April, Chinese customs began delaying and randomly testing US corn shipments for contaminants, creating bottlenecks that cost exporters millions. Simultaneously, Beijing opened quiet talks with Canadian suppliers, dangling the promise of bulk deals for cleaner grain. This isn't about corn, it's about leverage. Beijing's using ag imports to turn economic screws on Washington. What looks like testing is actually negotiating. The insight? In geopolitics, food is just another chess piece. Back in DC, corn isn't just corn, it's a lobbying battlefield. Agri-giants like Monsanto and Cargill are pouring millions into campaigns to soften export regulations and redefine what counts as premium. Their argument? Global standards are punishing US innovation. But watchdogs warn this could dilute trust even further. What's at stake isn't just regulation, it's reputation. This isn't regulation versus deregulation. The takeaway? Changing the label won't fix the product. So, if US corn isn't selling abroad, where does it go? Right back into domestic markets. That might sound like good news. Cheaper corn products, right? But flooding the market crashes prices, and small farmers are the first to suffer. Some are already defaulting on loans. Others are downsizing or quitting altogether. Less demand abroad equals rural pain at home. And when farms fold, entire towns unravel. Low prices feel nice, until the store shelves go empty. The takeaway? Short-term bargains can cause long-term breakdowns. Meanwhile, Canada is building a high-tech corn empire. Startups are offering AI-powered soil monitors, blockchain traceability for every kernel, and climate-resilient hybrid seeds. Their system tracks a corn cob from farm to port, with digital logs to prove purity and compliance. This makes importers trust Canadian shipments without hesitation, and that trust is translating into profit. Old farms, new software, massive results. The insight? Technology isn't just disrupting corn, it's redefining what premium means. This is more than just a corn problem. It's also a warning. Across the globe, countries are realizing that food supply is the new energy security. Clean, traceable, resilient crops aren't just about nutrition anymore. They're about national stability. Canada is ahead of the curve. The US is playing catch-up. And the next battleground won't be pipelines. It'll be plate lines. Crops are becoming currency. The insight? In a fractured world, food isn't just survival, it's strategy. So, Trump's furious. US corn is getting rejected, and Canada raking in billion-dollar deals. But the bigger shift is invisible. Trade now rewards trust, not just tons. As climate, politics, and consumer values reshape the world's food map, the quiet winners will be those who planted with foresight, not slogans. This isn't the end of the corn war. It's just the opening salvo. Stick around for more groundbreaking geopolitical news you won't find in the headlines.